This is my first meeting with the Dhamma. I appreciate your invitation to come here for Dhamma. It's very inspiring to see how much interest there is in Buddha Dhamma here in Singapore. And when I came several years ago, I was so impressed because to see so many people interested, especially in the Theravada school of Buddhism, in the Thai forest tradition. It's a very, like with training in Thailand with Luang many years ago, it was a very direct kind of training. It's Buddhism, a kind of very simple form of Buddhism that really appealed to me, because Buddhism, generally speaking, is so an ancient religion, 2,562 years old, so it has a long history and accumulates a lot of other things around it, where with Luang in his monastery in Thailand is very direct, the Four Noble Truths, and he kept emphasizing the practice of meditation. And that's what I was really interested in, was in meditation, and read many books, many articles on Buddhism. So I'd have interest for many years before I met Luang Por Chah. But because I was so inspired by the Buddhist teaching, I wanted to actually put it into practice, see if it actually worked. Because I'm a kind of doubting character, and wasn't sure whether it was just another kind of philosophical, metaphysical teaching that is inspiring, but doesn't go beyond inspiration. So Buddha Dhamma is inspiring in the Tripitaka, in the scriptures, in the suttas. You read these and it creates this interest in the teaching of the Buddha. But what Luang Por Chah emphasized all the time was patipata, which is put it into practice, make it work, because it's about the brilliance of the teaching is it's practical, it's not theoretical. So it's not about theories about the origin of life or metaphysical doctrines that you have to believe in. The Buddha established his first sermon on the most common, ordinary human experience there is, the experience of suffering or dukkha. And you think of that is common to everybody. Whether you're, the king, queen, or beggar on the street or whatever, male or female, ancient India or modern Singapore, suffering is the most common experience that we all have, and that the Buddha put that in that category of a noble truth. Most of us, we want to get rid of suffering. We can't see what's noble or true about it. We just want to get rid of it and find happiness. We want nibbana. We don't want dukkha, suffering. So this is a very interesting approach, because I was brought up as a Christian, where you believe in metaphysical teachings first. You have to believe in God, and it's all very inspiring because it's based on beautiful thoughts and metaphysical theories. But you have to believe it. You can't prove it. It's more or less a religion is is that which you believe in. You take on the metaphysical doctrines and believe in them. Where with Buddhism, you're not asked to believe in anything. The Buddha said there is suffering. That's a fact. It's not a belief. So this is the practicality, the here and now reality that the Buddha established his teaching, taking suffering, the most ordinary, common human experience, and then the encouragement to understand it. To understand something, you have to look at it. You can't just try to find happiness or suppress it or run away from suffering. To understand anything, you have to really observe. And this observation is here. You're not looking out at suffering of the world. We can see suffering all over in societies or read the news. There's always so much kind of wars and droughts and starvation and terrorist news about terrorism, things like this, about suffering outside. But to understand the First Noble Truth, you look inward. You're being aware. You're using awareness, mindfulness, to be aware of the body is like this. Right now you're sitting in this Dhamma hall, and the reality of sitting, you're reflecting on it. It is the way it is. So you're looking at what exists here and now. Sitting or breathing, inhaling, exhaling is taking place now, here and now. It's not about the future enlightenment or the past periods of your life. It's about right now, in the Pali, the Paccuppanna Dhamma. So you're learning to reflect this ability that we have as human beings to observe the body that we have, no longer from the position of owning it, because the biggest obstruction to enlightenment is believing that we are the human form, that's what we are, and at the end of the day we're a physical body, a man or a woman. We identify with the age, how old we are, with the color of our skin or the ethnic background that we identify with. We create all kinds of identities that create a sense of self or the ego. So suffering is to be understood. You're looking at just the sense of, like the state of mind, the sense of not being sure, of anxiety, of worry about the future, of confusion, of doubt, not to mention forms of anger and aversion, hatred and jealousy and greed. We are aware of that. Right now, sitting in this room, each one of you knows that you're conscious. If I asked you, each one of you, are you conscious? You'd have to say yes. But what is consciousness? Then you ask yourself. You say, yes, you're conscious, but what is it? You can't objectify it, you can't see it, you can't smell it or hear it, but you know it. So this knowing here and now is developing the wisdom faculty. And the Buddhist teachings are wisdom teachings. They're pointing to reality, to the way things really are. Like generally the feeling that we are, we identify with mortality, with birth and death. So the sense of ourself, our separation, is that I'm this mortal form sitting here. I'm this person, Ajahn Sumedho. I'm, and then I have a history, and curriculum vitae, and so forth that one can identify with. And so that identification separates me from you, because you're sitting there and you have different memories of your past experience and your hopes for the future. So this ego is makes us feel very separate, and rather than unified, we separate ourselves through our identity with mortality, with the mortal forms, the physical body, the changing conditions of your mind, your moods, your emotions, your memories. We attach to these, we cling to these, and create a person, a separate person with these memories, with these opinions and views. Where with reflecting on Dhamma, on First Noble Truth, there is suffering, you become aware of that suffering is impermanent. It's not ultimate reality. Suffering is a condition that arises, maintains itself for a while, and then ceases. And so, where consciousness, the conscious reality is that it doesn't arise and cease. Like consciousness doesn't arise and cease, but what arises and ceases as your thoughts, your emotions, your physical body was born, grows up, gets old and dies. All these are conditions. They're sankharas. In the Pali words, sankhara means condition or phenomena. So this is a way of reflecting. You're beginning to take the stand from the Buddha Dhamma Sangha position, Bhutang Saranang Gacchami, and so forth, which you just took, the refuges, and that might be a ceremonial form of receiving the three refuges, but also you internalize it. You take your stand with Bhuto, with knowing, with awareness, and observe that. You can observe the posture, the sitting, standing, walking, lying down, the movements of your body through the day and night. You know what you're doing. You know you're sitting now. In a little while you'll stand up, walk. Later on, lay down. And these movements of the physical body, you're witness to. That's conscious awareness of the body. So, is consciousness in the body? Can something within the body know the body? Ask yourself. Or are we in consciousness? Are the body that are sitting here in this room, are we all in consciousness? So this is a way of reflecting and beginning to question the assumptions, the opinions, the cultural conditioning, the religious conditioning that we have, to be able to realize the Dhamma, the deathless reality of Dhamma, the here and now reality of Dhamma. So I'll stop here. And what I've said is to be, not to be believed, but it's for reflection, for consideration. Apply it, change your attitude from seeing yourself always as a separate form in a world that is separate from you, seeing the unity of Dhamma, of consciousness, that is the actual experience that we're having here and now at this very moment.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And thank you again to Luang Por for coming to NDR. Let us take our leave. Sorry.
Yathavari vaha pura paripurenti sakarang evameva ito tinang betanang ubakapati ititang batitang dumhang kipameva samichatu sape burento sangapa janto banaraso yatha มณิโชติระโสยธา
สัพพิติโยวิวัจจันตุ
สัมปโรโควินาศตุมาเตภวัตวันตรายโยสุขิติขายุโกภวะอาภิวาทนาสิลิสานิจังวุฒาจายโนจันทารโอธัมมวัฏันติอายุวันโนสุขังมาลังบวรทุสัพพมังคลังราคันตุสัพพเทวดาสัมมาพุทธานุภาเวนะสัทธาโสติภวันตุเทภวันตุสัพพมังคลังราคันตุสัพพเทวดาสัมมาธัมมานุภาเวนะสัทธาโสติภวันตุเทภวันตุสัพพมังคลังราคันตุสัพพเทวดาสัมมาสังฆานุภาเวนะสัทธาโสติภวันตุเต
สาธุสาธุสา